Is this information correct? Large U.S. Gulf oil spill following Hurricane Ida. U.S. Coast Guard said Saturday cleanup crews are responding to a sizable oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico following Hurricane Ida. When, presumably, did this happen? It says underwater source offshore Port Fourchon, Louisiana. How close is that to Port Arthur or St. Charles? See, here's the problem, guys. They've been talking about doing this since last week. This is a strategic dump. This isn't an accident. They dumped this. They were threatening to do this. The problem is, it wasn't supposed to be reported yet, right? There's going to be another thing that's going to be reported on this on Monday. And concurrent to this being reported, somebody's planning to dump vaccines. Somebody's got a problem with the stockpile of vaccines or the shipment of vaccines they just got from a specific company, by the way. And they've coded the what they're going to do with those vaccines to this announcement. They've been planning it for at least the last 3 days actively that I can hear. This is not a spill. This is a strategic act of terrorism. Again, is that oil spill in Syria something comparable? Did somebody do that oil spill in Syria? You know, that's going to Cyprus. Right around the time that Cyprus makes the announcement that it makes, which, by the way, has a very strategic correlation with a visit from a former vice president. And so you've got that oil spill in Syria that is supposedly on its way to Cyprus, and now they want to talk about another Gulf oil spill, and they want to blame it on the hurricane. It has nothing to do. Okay, so are you guys going to realize it has nothing to do with the hurricane? It might, however, have something to do with 666, right? Are you going to respond appropriately? I heard it. I've been tracking it in my own way. This is not an accident. This is not, and you can't even claim this is negligence. You can't even claim that this is negligence or that they just didn't have the money in the budget to do the maintenance. Clean Gulf is so okay. You got your nonprofit in here. You got the block number. So they just announced today that those 5 people that were in that helicopter in the Pacific are actually dead. Who's going to claim the minerals? Yesterday they had a fucking bullshit eviction proceeding on LaFleur. Today they announced those guys that went down in that helicopter are dead in the fucking ocean, and there's a goddamn fucking oil spill here. Yeah, it's an act of terrorism. It's a domestic based act of terror. In whose interest is this supposed to serve? Is this part of some sort of retirement kickback? As in, again, you're going to allow a food store chain that's got the same investment management firm as another retail outlet that has major deals, proprietary deals concerning prescription medications, and by the way, has its own insurance that it provides to people that are actually employed in infrastructure projects, like, I don't know, making windmills. Right? Can we go back to the beginning of 2016 when somebody said, excuse me, we need to be looking at so called green energy deals getting set up in the United States if we're concerned about acts of political reprisal against people in other countries, including and up to acts of assassination? Because somebody is using green energy as part of some sort of process where they are hedging on the deaths and the murders of political opponents in other countries. That's exactly what this is. So who are they planning to take out? Come on, guys, let's be honest here. That's what this is. Who are they planning to take out? See, is this the kind of thing where you're actually going to flip the house? So instead of allowing the same status quo of people that have been engaged in a comprehensive campaign of murder of political dissidents for the last 20 years, are they finally what? Are you finally going to get somebody else that's going to take the cues to assassinate whoever it is that you've set up for them to try to assassinate so that then you can use the swap out to actually hit who you want? Because that's what you're telling me. That's exactly what you've just set up. You're ringing an account about somebody who got elected in 2008 and they lied and said somebody else got elected. So a couple years down the road, they could flip that election to somebody else getting elected, right? So what you're doing is you're setting that up. Okay. Less than 2 weeks ago, I did a What would have been an appropriate first response to an oil spill? Then there was an announcement of an oil spill in Syria. Now there's this announcement of this oil spill here. The problem is, this isn't an oil spill. This is an act of terrorism, right? And because you have so many previous acts of terrorism against actual industrial infrastructure, including petrochem factories, chemical plants, I mean, just here in Texas, I know this is in Louisiana. Who's appealing? Who's appealing in a case? Who's appealing a case from the state of Texas to the Court of Appeals in New Orleans? Right? I mean, they did what they did with mine. Nobody would consider my case in the Court of Appeals because I didn't get the kickback delivered to the guys locally yet, right? So who's got a Court of Appeals case? Who's just transferred a case over the weekend? Who's transferring a case to the Court of Appeals in New Orleans? Yeah, okay.